You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all.
There's something in the air, the dream of life in love, with minds that rest in prayer, sparking joy we're in awe. No matter where your path has been or time will somehow flies, like souls will come home again, true friendship ever thrives. Is this where the magic happens? Can you feel the hearts revealed right now in you and me? The secret is wherever we are. There's something in a smile that can turn a day around. Moments so worthwhile when we find common ground. No matter what the day might bring, right here we can align, knowing that we will be seen as perfect, whole, divine. 'Cause this is where the magic happens. Let's feel all the hearts, from close to me and me to you. The secret is wherever we are. So meet me where the magic happens, feeling all the hearts ignited now in you and me. The secret is wherever, the secret is whenever, the secret is together we are.
Good morning. How are ya? Here we are, our first service in 2025, an auspicious year at foot, I think. I'm very excited about it. I'd love to talk to somebody. Bill and I were talking earlier about the numerology of that. It might be kind of interesting to take a look at that. It certainly is a year I never, at 18, never thought I would live to see. It's so funny. Anyway, I would love to share with you today our purpose here at Center for Spiritual Living St. George. Our purpose is to love, teach, guide, and support a spiritual community in creating and living a life they love using science of mind and spirit principles and practices. Our vision at Center for Spiritual Living St. George is to be an community-focused center, actively living, sharing, and nurturing its members and friends so that all may live their best lives. And our mission is to be an open, inclusive, and evolving spiritual community that supports its purpose and vision through sacred wisdom celebrations such as today, empowering transformative education, such as the classes that Reverend Joe and Reverend Rachel will be providing for us this year, youth and young adult programs, which are not yet in action, but are part of our planning and the unfolding of Center for Spiritual Living St. George, a dynamic music ministry, which has been going for quite some time, and community inreach and outreach, working with our members and also the community at large. Today's team is I failed to introduce myself. I am Marina Anderson. I'm the president of the Core Council and a loving member of this community. I am teching and hosting for you today. Bill Smith, who is one of our practitioners, is doing our invocation. Tony Kovach is doing our reading today. Alan Stanley, a couple of great songs for our music, and Reverend Joe, our senior minister, is doing our talk, and I can't wait. I think it's going to be a really good one. So my first job is to bring up Mr. Allen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Marina. Hello.
Welcome.
Happy New Year, Marina.
And same to you. Same to you.
It's going to be a great one.
Yes, it is.
So we're going to start out a little slow with this Michael Gott song, and we'll sing, or you can hum along, or what you'd like to do, and we'll get a little ways through it, and Bill's going to come in and offer our invocation, and we'll finish it off. In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. When I lose myself when I feel I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love.
Welcome all to 2025. Please join me in affirmative prayer. As I look into the nature of God and what is all around me and through me, I notice several things. I know that historically we have said that God is love. And while it's difficult for my brain to wrap around that concept, I know that I see in God many of the qualities that I think of when I think of love. And I also know that when I think of God, I think about that wisdom, that one mind that we all think through, that I share. And I know that this love and this one mind and this wisdom creates and is part of my creativity. And I am just so grateful for that. I'm grateful for my ability and my privilege in living this life with God in every facet of my life. And as I know that each and every one of us within the sound of my voice today is also one with God, I know that feeling spreads through each and every one of us. So I know that today's service is a fresh and brand new start for 2025 as we start looking into the nature of God and how that affects each and every one of our own natures. And I know that as Reverend Joe brings us this message, and as Alan brings us this fantastic music, and Tony brings in the reading, each and every portion of that I know will inspire me and bring me forward toward a better understanding of how I can rise higher and how I can grow deeper as we are all focused on in 2025. So I just release my word, knowing that it is all good and it is already done. And so it is.
It is. So it is. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Alan.
And I know this voice of love, it is singing through my life. It is all I am, every part of me. It is all I choose to be. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. And we're going to bring Tony in. Hello, Tony.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Today's reading is coming from The Science of Mind, and it's inspired really because this time of the year we typically go back to some of our principles, our basic principles, and so I wanted to read from that, inspired by Joe, of course, a little help from him. And this comes from page 35. It's chapter, I believe, chapter 2, and it says, The Way It Works. The science of mind is not a special revelation of any individual. It is rather the culmination of all revelations. We take good wherever we find it, make it in our own insofar as we understand it. The realization that good is universal and that as much good as any individual is able to incorporate in his life is his to use, is what constitutes the science of mind and spirit. We have discussed the nature of the thing as being universal energy, mind, intelligence, spirit, finding consciousness and individualized centers of expression through us, and that man's intelligence is the universal mind functioning at the level of man's concept of it. This is the essence of the whole teaching. Now I'm going to skip over to the next page. It's a little additional section that says, the seed of perfection is hidden within. The original life is infinite. It is good. It is filled with peace. It is the essence of purity. It is the ultimate of intelligence. It is power. It is law. It is life. It is in us. It is the inner sanctuary of our own nature, hidden perhaps from objective gaze, nestles the seed of perfection. In our ignorance of truth, we have misused the highest power we possess, and so great is the power, so complete is our freedom in it, so absolute the dominion of law through it, that the misuse of this power has brought upon us the very conditions from which we suffer. We are bound because we are first free. The power which appears to bind us is the only power in the universe which can free us. This is why Jesus summed up his holy philosophy in this simple statement: it is done unto you as you believe. The great teacher looked so deeply into nature that she revealed her fundamental simplicity to him, that believe and that as symbolize heaven and hell. And so we suffer not because suffering is imposed upon us, but because we are ignorant of our true nature. And I just really enjoy that reading. Simple reminder that the possibilities are endless. We just have to be open and focused on what we want to see within our lives, within our surroundings. So that's what I took away from it today. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. That was great. I'm working on that too. I'm moving my way that way, a little bit at a time. Happy New Year. So I discovered Sue Riley here some time back, and she is a great writer and singer. And I do her songs quite often. And, this one I like to do. It's pretty honest. Hey, I made my New Year's resolution, only 16 pages long. Didn't hardly make a dent. All the things that I've done wrong. Hope springs eternal, and I've got a whole new year. Maybe this time I'll get through all the things I want to do, blaze a new frontier. I'm just gonna move a little, make it past the middle. All that I can guarantee is I'll get closer to the me that I wanna be. I'm so full of good intentions, not so good on follow through. There's too many times to mention what's a dreamer supposed to do. It's a wonder I'm not changing after all the things I've tried. Quitting this and starting that, thinking thin and getting fat. Now it's time to turn the tide. I'm just gonna move a little, make it past the middle. All that I can guarantee is I'll get closer to the me that I wanna be. Only I can free myself from this spinning carousel. No more going round and round and round. I'm just gonna move a little, make it past the middle. All that I can guarantee is I'll get closer to the me that I wanna be. I'm just gonna move a little, make it past the middle. All that I can guarantee is I'll get closer to the me that I wanna be. Closer to the me that I wanna be. Closer to the me that I wanna be.
Closer and closer every day, right, Alan?
That's right.
That's right. Very good. Thank you. That was fun. Okay. Now we're going to bring in our beloved Reverend Joe.
How are you? Happy New Year.
Thank you. I'm doing well. I'm
Alan
happy.
was going off, wasn't he?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah, he was picking crazy right there for a little bit.
I know. Very toe tapping for sure. All right. Take it away, Reverend Joe.
Thank you, Marina. And Happy New Year from my family to yours. It is January. It is 2025. And, it's getting older is odd in this and wonderful in the sense that, I can now look back way back in 1999 when everybody was freaking out turning year 2000. And if you're old enough, you remember Y2K. I had to explain that to my kids because technology was so new then and everything was going to, the world was going to end and all this crazy stuff. And yet 25 years later, here we are thriving. That same technology is making our lives more comfortable. We can now do this, which we couldn't do before. Life is truly, truly amazing. And I hope that you are having an amazing year so far. Love that song, that last song that Alan played. Thank you, Alan, for that. The 16-page resolution. We all do that. We need to try something different here, shall we? So beginning a new year, we have a new global theme I would like to introduce. So CSL came up with this year's global theme, Rising Higher, Growing Deeper. Rising higher, growing deeper. And coming off of a wonderful last year, I like this. I like the idea of having a focus all year of rising higher, growing deeper, higher in consciousness. Let's keep in mind that there's, sometimes when I hear the word higher, I have to obtain this. It's all already here. It's just really opening to it and recognizing within it and not holding ourselves back. And thank you, Marina. And so today's, this monthly's theme is stretching into possibilities. Is this your camera? Am I on?
Your camera went off, kind sir.
Ah, okay. And I'm on, and I'm back. All right. Talking about technology, let me get back to it. So this month's theme is stretching into possibilities. I don't know if she meant it or not, but my beautiful wife, Tony, during the reading mentioned the infinite possibilities that exist at every single moment. I recently heard a talk where they were expressing the fact that they believe now that we are constantly shifting into and out of like realities depending on our own vibration, and therefore truly everything is possible. Now, whether it's probable depends on where we're holding ourselves. And so then we're going to work our way down from the annual to the monthly theme. Today's talk is God's nature is our nature. And in the essence of not trying to define all that in one talk, let's just keep it simple. Let's have some fun. We're talking about Centers for Spiritual Living and God's nature. And some people trigger with the word God, so please feel free to call it whatever it is in your heart, the infinite, source, universe, whatever floats your boat. Honestly, if it feels great, then you're attached to it. Even when we call it an it, because it's not a he or she. We don't believe in an anthropomorphic God, a being, so to speak, yet consciousness. And that is overall, simplistically, what we believe in CSL, that God is all there truly is. It is omnipresent, meaning everywhere present. It is omniscient, meaning it is all-knowing. And it is all powerful. It is the only power. That's why we call it source, the source of all. And so it is one and it is the many. How can it be both? And this is where we can work this year of opening our minds from this or that to this and that kind of thinking. And that is simply, well, it is all there is, and yet it is also every individualized component of it. And so what came to me during this talk, creating the talk, was something I believe I mentioned in my last talk. That was a few weeks ago already, which is crazy, but this idea of looking at the whole of God, of all that there is in the sense of a cake, right? And looking at the cake, it is a whole cake. It is 100% cake. And at the same time, it is also a list of ingredients joined together for a common purpose, being expressed with intent, with purpose and desire to be a cake. Again, very simplistic, but let us kind of simplify our lives. Why not? It doesn't have to be complicated. So the cake is always, again, 100% the cake at all times. And again, the analogy was we can take a slice of cake, and that slice of cake is 100% cake, but it is not 100% of the cake. So while looking at that now, we as individuals or individualizations, we are pieces of that cake, so to speak, okay? And that the cake could not be the cake without its ingredients. So in essence, we take our nature from it, and yet we are not separate from it. And when I talk about removing a slice, just mentally, not physically, we can never be separated because everything is of this same energetic consciousness. So cake in that slice, even though it's an individualized slice, its nature is still the cake's nature. So our nature is spirit's nature, is life's nature, is the unfolding of every purpose and desire. It's all happening at the same time in oneness. So like a cake, like we can look at the individual ingredients. We can maybe study a particular spice or sweetener, and we can know that. We can know the spice and we can study it real well, but we'll never know all of the cake through studying individual parts. And this is really kind of sometimes what we get caught up in doing. Instead of just recognizing we're it already, we have all there is, we want to understand it. And there's nothing wrong with searching and opening to and evolving. That's the whole purpose of being here. Let's just not get caught up into this is the only way it is or can be when we're looking at infinite possibilities. It's all going, if it all comes from the same source, it's all going to go back to the same source. So kind of, I continue this analogy in my head of spirit acting through its life, you and me, as if kind of like you and I are chefs. And spirit has provided this infinite kitchen to experiment in. And we have every kind of ingredient that we get to use, because in essence, life, spirit, is trying to get to know itself. And so it continues to branch off and, in essence, experience itself. So we, excuse me, we get to create our own cake. Okay, let's pause about that. Pause and ponder that. That is power. That the source of all there is, we get to use that infinite power, the infinite mind, the infinite all-knowingness, and create a life for ourselves to experience. And we can never stray too far away and technically get lost, because we're always connected to it. Ernest Holmes, let me give the quote first. Ernest Holmes says, we do not create laws and principles, but discover and make use of them. Now, why did I put this in here? Because think about it, as we're working with this thing called, in science of mind, called the law. The law is the idea of things happen in certain ways. The law of circulation, for example, right? As you give, so shall you receive. The law of gravity, right? So it's something that happens, and we know it happens every time for everybody in the same way. It's not something what we have to invent. So the law is always at work, right? In other words, there are things happening now that we don't know, we don't understand, yet someday will, okay? And as we tap into that, we evolve. Just like at one point, we didn't know what electricity was. We didn't know what fire was at one point. And electricity follows certain laws and principles. Once we understand that and know of it and are aware of it, we can use that to make our lives more comfortable and so on. So the law with a capital L, the law as in spirit, law, and form, is always happening. Down the road, I'm going to call it the law of attraction, for example, right? We recognize that we attract through our thoughts and beliefs and actions. So by design or by default, we are always using this law. Why? Because we are always creating. And Tony gave a perfect reading with regards to, yes, in science of mind, we recognize that our thoughts are not just our thoughts. Our thoughts come from source. Source is aware of the thoughts, and we put them together in our own unique thumbprint of a way of a life. And the law says yes. So again, within this infinite kitchen, we get to create our cakes using this same creative law that source used to create the whole universe in what we know of and beyond. Right? So these ingredients that we use in our cake are, again, chosen either consciously or unconsciously. Again, by design, consciously, I'm doing this, I want this spice, I want, this frosting, whatever, okay? And, or unconsciously, and we're like, we can talk about that. How did that get in my cake? We'll mention that in a minute. So if you're not sure what ingredients you're using, look around, because the ingredients come up and they show themselves in our circumstances, in our lives. And so if things are not happening the way we want them to, we first always go within, and is there something that I'm doing to create that? Maybe I didn't want that taste in my cake. Maybe I didn't want it to turn out that color, or however. So it's kind of, again, very simplifying that the idea is to choose by design, consciously choose the cake that we want. And of course, as we're looking at this idea of God's nature or spirit's nature and our nature, God has no fear. God knows itself. And so it just creates. And that's kind of where we tend to get caught up in we don't always just kind of go for, this is what I'm feeling, this is great, let's move towards this. Sometimes we're too literal, sometimes we're too rational, and yet all of that is okay. That is a part of it. And again, creating with a sense of intent or purpose, desire. And we all have these. We all have desires within us. And some of us maybe don't know it, and some of us maybe don't know how to create from it. So I just want to add, and I don't know if you saw it in the latest newsletter, but I'm offering an online workshop coming up, I think in a week. I'm going to check real quick. Yep, in a week from Wednesday. And creating a pathway of purpose with passion. So we're going to look at, instead of maybe just setting your traditional New Year's resolution we can do it in the sense of a more conscious design. So the information, it's on Zoom. Look in the newsletter if you didn't quite catch the information. Everyone is welcome. You don't have to be a member of CSL. You're more than welcome. I do suggest bringing a notebook because you're going to want to take some notes down, in essence, of things that you experience. All right, so moving on. So the ingredients of our life, what are they? Well, hopefully we're balanced in the sense of, are we adding enough joy and laughter, passion, as I just mentioned, inspiration, prosperity, abundance, health, wealth? See, we have to understand we're the chef in our kitchen. Okay, a lot of us are sitting back going, well, where's, I wanted joy. I asked for joy. It's not showing up. Well, it's because we're not recognizing it. Everything is already in the kitchen. We're just not consciously choosing it, and therefore we're not seeing it, right? So whether we're creating unconsciously or consciously, we're the chef. We're the masters, believe it or not, of our own reality, and we get to decide what our life shows up like. What kind of cake are we going to choose? Okay. Either way, whether we're creating consciously or not, the law says yes. That's what it does. And I kind of thought about this idea of the oven. We put the cake in the oven. The oven doesn't really say, well, I don't want to cook that kind of cake today, or whatever we put in the oven, right? It just says, all right, I'm heating it. This is what I do. And so kind of like that, the law says yes. Now, we use the example quite often in our teaching of seed, thought, soil. Our mind is the soil. And our mind, the soil and the law part says yes. Same idea. So we're going to, we have to kind of live by trial and error. We try something, we make something new, and we're like, man, I don't like that a lot. That's okay. That's part of this becoming that you and I are all going through. Isn't that amazing to understand that no matter where you are today, that you can shift your point of attraction, your point of living, whether you're in the moment of any kind of experiencing any kind of lack. What we know true is it is already here. And I've proven it to myself and I've taught others. And that's what we do in our teaching, that it's all here now. It's hard to see sometimes. And look, as much as I know, I still go through these little battles of the mind. And I realize it all comes back to this idea of wholeness, really, that again, everything is in the kitchen already. We have to go to the right cupboard mentally to choose it. Ernest Holmes, in his book, Continuing the Science of Mind, he says that we must go the way of the law is a fundamental tenet of this science. Because nature, capital N, obeys us as we first obey it. And our obedience to it is our acceptance of it. How much can we believe? As much as we can believe will be done unto us. So kind of a different way of saying what Tony read earlier. This idea that we have to understand how the law works. If I'm angry, okay, that's the vibration I'm giving out. That's what I get back in my thoughts, in my experiences, in my results, in my behaviors, what comes to me, people, places, and events. And the way we kind of heat things up or not, or bring things to us, of course, is attention. What we're focusing on, what we're being vibrationally, what we're attentive to is the only way anything can be put into our cakes. Okay, but we have to focus on it enough to put it in our cake, and that's the only way. So if I'm cooking and I say, I really want joy in my cake, and I go, I want some joy in my cake, and I never look at joy again, it's in my cake, but I'm really not going to taste it, experience it, what have you. And at the same time, so often when we're creating, we create not necessarily from what we want, but we're more focused, attentive to what we don't want. And so we're like, hot sauce. How did I get hot sauce in my cake? And then, of course, if we're unconsciously doing this and we're not understanding how this law works, which is exact, meaning I'm the one that put it in there, but I'm going to blame you. Why did you put some hot sauce in my cake? And in reality, nobody can do this to us. We say, well, they're doing this to us, to me. That's that victim mentality. That's level one. It doesn't feel good. And we're like, why is this happening? Now, we don't have to go to the extremes. I can give you a fun story right now that before I was really unaware of the law of attraction or the law at all, Tony was pregnant with my son, and I was working full-time as a school counselor. I also had a small business, and I had a new big event coming up. So I, at the time, rented margarita machines. I was a very popular guy in town because we had these machines, and I was going to participate in a local San Gennaro Italian festival. And it was exciting for me. I was a really small business person, so this was a big leap out. And when Tony was pregnant with Michael, we found out her due date was right around the time of the beginning of this festival. So without knowing how this worked, Tony and I put a lot of attention on, gosh, he could be born anytime except this week. He can't be, because it's a 5-day festival. He can't be doing this. There's no way I can do this and manage this. And I was on my own, and who could cover me? And it was just, pure on full attention to what we didn't want. And what do you think showed up, right? The night before of opening day of the festival, I had to take Tony to the hospital, and Michael was born that night. In other words, the morning of the festival. Now, I made it, and we got through it all. And we look back and laugh now because if anything proves it, we proved it to ourselves. Now, we proved it through the things we don't want. Now, if we continue to work on consciously creating what we want, consciously choosing the very ingredients that we want. And so we've had to learn too, because sometimes we're like, well, we're good with our money. We're good with this. We're good with that. Why is this showing up? And for a while, we weren't taking that full responsibility. And it's scary sometimes to take responsibility. It's scary sometimes to say, I'm the master chef in here, so we don't see ourselves that way. But let me tell you, like in the reading, we hold ourselves bound. God is not punishing us. That doesn't happen. We're just ignorant of how it works. We were ignorant of, initially, why didn't Michael show up this way? Now, because we've grown, right? What's the rising higher, growing deeper? Our new annual theme. We were able to recognize our mistakes and learn. Now, God is forever giving, always. You can never run out of ingredients. No matter how, if you love chocolate, you can put as much chocolate in your cake as you want. And as Ernest Holmes says, God's nature is generosity and forgiveness. Maybe for us, it's a little too much chocolate. That's okay. The universe has nothing against us and only desires our well-being. And I have to remind myself this way, because sometimes I get caught up into looking around and seeing it as imperfect. And that scares me, that I go to this place of fear until I recognize that everything, no matter where it is still of God and still is in a place of becoming. And I think I've shared with this a few times, but I go back to that dream I had where I was out in space, full, how would I say? I was there, full senses, and I was just peering at the earth. And the thought that came to me was, everything truly is perfect. And like my focus, my kind of consciousness went down, and even amid the chaos, it was still beautiful. I wish you could help you feel what I feel. And I go there because truly I believe that is the nature of God, that no matter what it looks like, it's all perfect. It's all good. It's all God in expression. So Ernest Holmes reminds us, he says, one of the great difficulties in the new order of thought is that we are likely to indulge in too much theory and too little practice. As a matter of fact, we only know as much as we can prove by actual demonstration. That which we cannot prove may or may not be true, but that which we can prove certainly must be and is the truth. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about putting this into our lives, putting it into practice, having the courage to say, you know what, here's one thing that I would really like to work on this year, and do that. Follow the passion within us. We have been ordained by all that is, because we are all that is in extension and expression, to live the life we want. So we really, in essence, can't do it wrong, but yet we can do it better each and every day. What's the quote I love? It's not about being better than anybody else. It's about being better than I used to be. don't remember who quoted that, but I love that. Because it takes us out of competition about looking what everybody else is doing in a competitive way, in a negatively competitive way, and going more to a life affirming, hey, what are you doing? Ooh, that kind of, maybe I'll try this, and nope, that didn't show up. Well, we have to put this into practice, don't we? And I get that. That's one of the reasons why I'm offering this workshop, is to let's do it together. You don't have to be on your own. It can be scary. It is scary at times. And yet what I reinforce within myself is that I know, because I have practiced enough, that it always turns out better than I thought it was going to. Always. And so with that vibration, and I build on it, and I build on it, and I build on it, and I build on it. And that's what Ernest Holmes is talking about. Like, yes, the law will do this. In essence, we trust the infinite mind to deliver it in the perfect way, in the perfect time, with the perfect people, all the right circumstances. But we also have to be willing to do our part. Right? So what are we really talking about today? The challenge is profound. It's, in other words, whatever we believe to be true about God or spirit or life or source, its nature will be reflected in our own lives. So I guess, oh, God is all loving, but I'm living a miserable life. Those don't add up. Though maybe I believe I'm waiting for this God to do it for me instead of through me. Maybe if I'm more willing to take small baby steps each and every day, I will experience the life that I believe I'm worth of. So pause for a minute and just ask yourself, what do you believe? And I'm not, in essence, to save time, I'm going to ask us to do this as your home practice this week. Really get into the idea of what is God to you? What is spirit to you? What is it not necessarily tangibly look like, feel like? What's your relationship with it? Is it doing everything for you, to you, or are you kind of acting in harmony with it? And we trust that God is intelligent. It knows all, not intelligence just factually, but it is all. So it knows all. Charles Fillmore says, God is an intelligent force, always present and always active. God is eternally in its creation and never separate from it. Wherever there is evidence of creation, there God is. God is mind and created through its word or idea, thought, and this is the universal creative vehicle. So what we believe, what we hold to be true, shows up in our experience. Okay. Another quote, I think it's the last one, and I had to add it in. You've probably heard it before if you've been around a while, but principle is not bound by precedent. I'll go back and explain that. There is no law in the universe that seeks to perpetuate old limitations, but there is a law which responds to our greatest vision at the exact level of that vision. So what are we saying? One, principle, law, doesn't just get caught in this loop on its own of lack. Okay, because, well, this is what has been, that's always, and I grew up with some of that thinking. Well, that's how it's always been. We don't question. Well, I'm telling you, I'm suggesting to question what could be better. And then recognize that principle or law doesn't say, oh, well, this is how we've always done it. It wants to say, okay, what else can we do? What else can we do? Yes, you want that? Yes. You want to feel more healthy? Yes. You want to feel more inspired? Yes. You want to wake up without pain? Yes. It's all possible. Yet, the latest part is we have to hold the vision within ourselves, within our own minds, within our own body temple, the vision and vibration of the desired dream or outcome that we want to experience. So as we learn from our past experiences, we get to move forward. And there's no rule book that says, well, we have to go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. We can go from 1 to 10, 1 to a billion, if we open ourselves up well enough. What do I mean by that? We recognize the mistakes we've made, we learn from them, and we forgive ourselves. We forgive ourselves. Recognize we're not horrible people. We were acting ignorantly. And now that I know, or you know more, we're able to act in a better and higher way. Act with true love. Act with true joy. Act in truth. We're literally recognizing that our nature is of Spirit's divine nature. They're not separate. We're just learning to recognize the fullness of divine love. And I love how, and I appreciate practitioner Bill Smith saying God is love. So for him, it's kind of hard to understand. And that's good. That's good. Maybe, and so he finds his own language that stores that presence within him. And I always suggest, please do that for you. Whatever it is, though I like the word divine. Just the word divine for me is just, or the word sacred for me. I'm able to feel that presence more than some certain other words. Find your word. Find your nature with the divine as of today, and let's work on rising that higher and growing that deeper. All right, so call to action, kind of bringing us to a close. Take time to become aware of your relationship, what you believe your nature is with God. And in essence, going back to this cake analogy, what are you baking? What is this the cake that you want to serve yourself? And if not, let's learn from our mistakes. That's okay. We've made mistakes. Once we own them, once we own that, no matter how painful it can be, you don't have to do this by yourself, right? We can then move forward. Maybe we have to get new skills. It will be made known to us. Maybe there's a new way of doing things, a new way of cooking. It will be made known to us. Maybe there's some new ingredients that we weren't aware of before. They will be made known to us as we rise and open up, raise our consciousness, open up to wanting to, stop letting fear rule our lives. It spoils our cake. The other part of it is remember, let's not mind what everybody else is doing. Let everybody else make the cake they want to make. Okay, and we can learn from them and we can try some things. But remember, whatever we hold in attention, okay, we're adding to our experience, our cake. Okay, so the more we do it, learn from Tony and I, and the more we focus on what we didn't want, and then we're like, why does this keep showing up? Now we know. Now we're better. And we wouldn't have gone, if we did go through that experience, we wouldn't be where we are today. Again, isn't that perfect? It's kind of like what I saw in my dream. No matter where it was, no matter what was going on, everybody was in the end getting what they wanted. And lastly, remember that you are not the oven. You're not the one baking the cake. That's what we call the law. The law will bake the cake. We put it in, right? Think about like our prayer. We recognize the all that is. We recognize spirit. We recognize our nature with spirit as one and the same. And then we state the reality that we want to experience, and then we hand it off, don't we? The last step, we release it to the oven. Here you go. Release it to the law, and then stay in our lane. What do? We hold the vision. We hold that vibration of it being already done. Right? Play in that mind. Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. We've been taught not to do that. And a lot of role models. Well, just focus in on what's happening today. Well, if that's all we do and focus in on only today, okay, then that's what we're going to get. Only today. Now, it's not about, we can be grateful for today, but then, wait till tomorrow. I can't. Isn't that what we did as children? Right? I can't wait till tomorrow. I can't wait till this happens. I can't wait till I can drive. Her, my daughter said, I can't wait till I can drive. Right? And she holds that vision in her mind. Oh, by the way, I have the little props for her. That was my Christmas present right there. That says CSL Rev Joe. And she hand painted that. Beautiful. Creativity in action. So lastly, you're perfect just the way you are now. Okay. To say God loves you, I hear that. And then I'm like, oh, wait, who is God? God's out there. No, you are already loved being expressed. And yes, Source does love you because you are it. There's no need to force anything to happen. Whatever's going on today, if anything, just accept it. We may not like it, but that's okay. That gives us a starting point from where to begin. Taking our kitchen back. Maybe we've let a lot of other people show up and do what they thought was right for us. Let's begin to maybe even look at list some ingredients that we want in our lives. Let's play with that. and see what shows up. Test it. It will work. And yet take full responsibility for what shows up. And if we're not sure how to tweak it, there's other people that have been through this. That's what we look to, like Ernest Holmes and other master teachers, or just it could be your next door neighbor. It could be the child next door that we learned from, because we're all part of this infinite intelligence, this wholeness being expressed everywhere, everywhere. It's going to be a fantastic new year. And I pray that you join us for this whole year and be an investor of what we're doing here today. So as we end each week with an affirmation, it's a beautiful, I love the word radiant. I am a radiant reflection of divine love and wisdom. Now, if that was our attention and we held that, or even 5 minutes a day, just hold that, sit with that, speak it over and over and over till literally it vibrates within your cells. Easy. It doesn't have to be difficult. So let's bring this to a close. Let's pray. I'm going to close my eyes. And what I know to be true is that God is always being expressed. Love is always being expressed. Joy is always being expressed. And these are, in essence, ingredients of the whole. We can't understand the whole, but yet we know it as who we are. The very energy and vibration that breathes us. We can't even breathe ourselves, but we recognize the divine power and presence in us that is us, who we are in expression. I surrender my small mind in the sense of knowing that I don't know it all. So I open. When I say surrender, I open to this infinite knowledge, this infinite wisdom, knowing it is available to me at all times, and that it is an intelligent wisdom. It knows me better than I know me. And so what I know is the desires that I hold in my mind and my heart for this new year, for this month, for today, that they are answered. That all is happening right in the world today. And yes, tomorrow's going to be a better day, and so on, because that is the way that ideas happen. They evolve, they grow deeper, higher. And we do this together in a beloved community that we call CSL St. George. And yet we also look at our greater community, our global community, because we're doing this all together on the same beautiful planet, on this same vibrational plane together. But we start with ourselves. We start with our kitchens. We start today with the full courage and power, because what we know to be true is that God truly is. And so it is. Amen. Namaste. And thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you. That was lovely. I think I'm going to switch from chocolate fudge cake to maybe banana cream for 2025. Want to do some bacon with me?
Some ease and grace required. But we can change it every day if we wanted to. What's our focus today? So beautiful. I love the fact that you're open to change.
I love that. Thank you. And I too love the word radiant. So that radiant reflection. Oh, so great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Reverend Joe.
You're welcome. Many welcomes.
See you on Zoom. All right, y'all. That was so great. Thank you, Reverend Joe, for your stories and your wisdom. That I really enjoyed today's talk. I would like to encourage you all to join in our flow of abundant prosperity, and y'all know the whys and the wherefores, and hope that you will help us as a center and also help us share our prosperity with organizations within our community, which we do quarterly. So super excited about you joining the flow of that. And I have another affirmation here to reflect that. So say it along with me. I am overflowing with love and abundance. I give from the source of my being, which is rich and unlimited. With joy and excitement, I share from this overflow. In return, the universe gives back to me in infinite ways, channels, and means. And so it is. All right. Some more announcements. Our next in-person service is next week at on Mall Drive, January 12th, and the theme will be making space for it. And Reverend Joe will have another grand talk for us, I'm sure. If you have a prayer request, all you need to do is go to our website and click on one of the practitioners' pictures, and you can create an email and contact someone, whether you want support for glorious things that are happening in your life to continue or need some emotional or spiritual help. Our practitioners are so delighted to help you. And that information is always in the newsletter as well. We are still taking applications for the core council. We do have people who are in the process of applying. We will have room for more. So if this is something that a way that you would like to serve our community, we encourage you to contact us and submit an application. There is a Zoom conversation today at noon, which is in about 4 minutes. And if you can't join us on Zoom, but you have questions or comments, please email revjoe@cslstgeorge.org. The next 2 Sundays are, as I said, in person next week, making space for it with Reverend Joe, and also on the 19th back on Zoom with It Flows. And now the team is going to come forward and do our closing affirmation. We hope that you will join us with that at home. Everybody's back up. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all that I do.
I am it, I embrace it, and I share it just the way that it is.
And just the way that it is becoming. Thank you.
Life.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, everybody.
Namaste.
Have a
Zoom,
great
zoom.
have a
Happy
great
New Year.
day.
Happy New Year.
Come join us on Zoom.
Zoom, zoom.